Hello, my name is Tina from Victoria Designs. I probably sound quite echoey because I am sitting in my new temporary studio and there's no soft furnishings here anywhere. This video is a tutorial how to assemble one of our mini projects, a mini folio again. A few months ago I already made a tutorial how to make this folio model from scratch. But since not everyone is so fond of things like measuring, I decided to turn this into a mini project as well. Now what is a mini project? Well, it's a crafting project where everything is already prepared for you. I've done the thinking for you. No need to think about measurements, etc. Just print the sheets, cut out and assemble. You can probably make it in an afternoon, alone if you need some precious alone time, or together with friends for a crafty get-together. The designs in this assembly tutorial are from the Back to Nature mini project, but if you bought another mini project with the same model but a different design, the assembly works just the same. In the description you will find links to this exact mini project as well as to our other mini projects. But if you would like to test out our mini projects first, we have quite a few available on our YouTube channel for free. Okay, I'm going to show you the end result of this mini project first and then step by step show you how to assemble it. Enjoy! So let me first show you this whole project. It is a little folio that's nicely filled. This is the back, this is the front. It opens like this. And of course, depending on the designs you bought, it will look a lot different. So it opens up like this. We have here a lot of pockets filled with lots of little embellishments. Here is an envelope where you can put embellishments in. It opens up like this again. Here's a little tiny journal that you can put in here with a little pulley, and actually this also fits perfectly into this pocket right here, and you could just pull it out like this, and also in this one. But I'm going to put it back here. This part here has a tag with a pocket window here. The same here, little pocket for a journal right here. It's the same type of little journal like this one, and so it also perfectly fits there. And here we have another tag that fits perfectly in here. And the whole thing closes like this. Of course, first I have to close this one with a magnet snap, with a magnet closure, by the way. This one also has a magnet closure, and you can just close it back up like this. So beautiful, such fun to make, and let me show you how to make it. Now let me first show you the pages. There are in total 16 pages plus a back design. Now the first, I think 12 pages, I printed on 160 grams paper, that's about 60-pound cover. Now on the first 5 pages, I printed the back design on the back. That is optional. You can also use ink with an ink blender on the back where the white pieces are exposed if you don't want to use up all your printer ink. So you can choose what you like. It's also printed on the first 5 pages, print on back of back design, you know that's optional. From page 6 until page 12, you don't have to print anything on the back. And for page 9, these are the pockets. There are 2 versions. There's a version without windows in the pockets, and there's a version with. You can choose which one that you like to use. And on all these sheets there are parts and panels and more parts and more panels and more pieces, and also here and there some a few bits of ephemera to put in the pockets, etc. Yeah, everything's here. And then the last few pages I didn't print on 160 grams, but just on regular 80 grams paper, you know, like the normal stuff. You can actually already see through them a little bit, but I don't want these little booklets, because this is going to be a little booklet, I don't want them to become too thick to put in the pockets. That's why I printed them on regular paper, and I printed them on both sides. You can choose from page 13 until page 16 which ones you print on which side. That's totally up to you. I just printed all 4 pages, turned the stack around, and printed the 4 pages again. Now, when I turned it around, I printed it 1% larger than on the first side, so that when you cut out the front, you won't have a white edge. Now, if you have a white edge, you can always add a little bit of ink, etc. No worries at all. But that's how I do it. There you go. And of course, first thing to do, like always, cut everything out. I'm gonna do that right now, and I'm gonna come back to you. So I cut everything out, and as you know, there are a lot of components. Now on the sheets there's written what is what, panel this, base part this, etc. And you can just check your computer, the files again, to see which part is which, or you can just write it on there. Of course, the pieces that are double-sided, write it in the white part because there's gonna come a panel on top. Don't write it too hard so you can see through it later, so do it very softly. So I've written on all my parts. On the actual panels you can just write on the back. For the round corners you can use a corner rounder to help you. And I'm gonna start with the base. The base has 4 parts. And there are 2 flaps as well. I'm gonna put the rest aside for a bit. So the original Folio tutorial had 2 big parts, but since everything needed to fit on an A4 and a letter sheet, I had to think a little bit different. So now there are not 2 sheets, but actually 4 different parts, but it works just the same. Oh, and I also inked the edges of most of the parts already. I used this vintage photo, and probably during the process I will add a bit more ink. But of course this is totally optional. Okay, let's start making our base. Now all these lines need to be scored. I'm talking about this line, these 2, this one and these 2. And for that I use my scoreboard. If you don't have a scoreboard, use a ruler and an empty pen or something else that's fine but blunt, and like a placemat underneath. So try to be as precise as you can. Now let's fold these all inward. If you want to make your folds crisper, you can use a bone folder. Okay, we have our 4 base parts, and the first thing I'm going to do is glue base 1 and 2 together and base 3 and 4 together. We're not going to glue them all together yet. So how do we do that? For base 1 and base 2, they're like this. And then I'm going to put some double-sided tape on this tab and glue it on like that. You can use wet glue as well. I'm just going to use double-sided tape here. Put your glue and or tape next to the fold, not on the fold, because otherwise our project is going to become sticky. We don't want that, just next to the fold. If you're using double-sided tape, make sure you have a very steady hand to glue these parts together, because once down, they're down. Or if you think, I want to use double-sided tape, but I want to wiggle around a little bit, use a bit of glue stick on top. And then you have a little bit more wiggle room. If you're like, no, I want all the wiggle room I can get, just use wet glue, tacky glue or something like that. Yeah, and stick it right next to the fold, not on the fold again. There, like this. So this is base 1 and base 2 glued to each other. They look like this. And now I'm going to attach base 4 and base 3. Now take care, they look a lot alike. It's just that base 4 doesn't have an extra tab here. Make sure you have your base 4 here and your base 3 here, like this. And again, we're going to put some glue or tape on this tab and glue base 4 on top. There. Glue it like this. That helps a bit. Again, right next to the fold. There, and when you're sure, put it down. Okay, now I'm going to turn this one around. I'm going to put it like this. So we have our first part with the rounded corners on this side. And now we have this part with the tab on top here. You see it? So it goes like this. Because we're going to put this later, not now, on here. And this will become a pocket. And this we're going to close like this. And this is also going to become a pocket. But before we can do that, we have to put a panel here and here underneath before we can close the pockets. Okay, so the very first panels that we're going to attach are one here. You know what, I'm going to actually, this is optional, quickly ink the folds here so you have a much better view of what I'm doing and where I'm placing everything. You know, this is super optional, but it's gonna help you see much better what I'm actually doing. So, okay. The first panel that I'm going to attach is gonna come here, and it's panel D2. I'm gonna use glue stick. You can use, again, double-sided tape, other wet glue that you like to use. A glue stick is just very fast for a tutorial, that's why I'm using it. If you're using a glue stick, I recommend to use one that's very strong, that has a very strong bond. Now, you will see this panel is smaller than this part, but here, this pocket is gonna come on top, so it's okay if you don't see anything here. Just make sure that the amount of room you have on top and on the sides is actually the same, like this. So it's okay if there's a lot more room here. You won't see it afterwards anyway. Make sure that this space and that space and this space is the same. Okay, and then the other panel that we're going to attach is D1, and I'm going to again place it this time on that side because this pocket is gonna close like this, and then this part will be hidden anyway. Okay, so I'm going to attach this one right here, making sure again that we have equal space all around here. There we go. So our first two panels are down, and now I'm first going to close this pocket. And for that I'm going to use double-sided tape, but very thin one. This is 1/4 inch wide, this is 6 millimeter, and I'm just going to put some pieces of tape right next to the edge on the both short sides. Like this. Again, you can use glue, wet glue, strong glue, just a tiny bead on the edge is okay. There, and now I just have to close that pocket. And now, the other pocket on this side, we're going to put over here, like this. I'm going to put tape again on this side and this side, but also this time on this side, because otherwise, you know, whatever you stick in there will fall through on the other side of the folio. That's not what we want, okay? So, tape here. Yes, this wide edge should be a lot smaller by the time. If we're going to make this model with other designs, I might change the images already with less of the ink here. Now, it's not a great loss for sure, but if it's not necessary, it's not necessary. In that case, you will just see a shape here and not this white, inky, edgy thingy. Okay, so I have my tape here, here, here. And normally you put it on there, but to make sure that I am going to be very perfect here, I am going to glue this part on there instead of the other way around. So now I'm going to line this up right next to the fold again, like this. There. And your project should look like this right now. So it's going to fold in like this, this, this. Yeah. It's not much yet, but it's a start. And the next thing to add is these flaps. They're gonna come here and here. Actually, I'm going to put them like this. And first I need to score this line again. Make sure you score the black line and not the line where the brown ends. I left some color on the edge here so that when you fold it, you will still see some color there and not stark white. That's why I did it. So make sure you fold on that thin black line. Like this. And then you fold them and you see there's a bit of black here, but then if you fold a little bit, if your fold's a little bit off, you will not see the stark white. That's the whole idea. Okay, you can see I already inked both sides. And now I'm just going to put tape or glue on this flap here and glue them in like this. Right next to the edge, like against the edge, and you'll see you have a bit of room left, about 1/8 of an inch, 3 millimeter on this side and also on this side. So center it. Again, tape or glue right next to the fold. And I'm already going to flip this over so I can really line up that fold with the top part here. I'm gonna make sure it's in the center. It really doesn't matter if this one's on top or the bottom, they're just the same. The same here. I'm gonna already hold this tab on the other side, line up the fold with the bottom line, make sure there's equal space on each side, et voila, we have our 2 flaps here. There. And now we're first going to add panels and pockets inside here. The first panel you need is panel A, and we're going to glue this one. It should fit right between the tabs here, and we're going to glue it on the same height of the tabs here so that it's continuous here. You see? So also 1/8 of an inch from that fold. Like that. Easy peasy. And next thing we need is pocket 1. And this is going to come on top right here. But first we have to make sure if it fits. I made these pockets as perfect as possible, but we're all human, and sometimes if we only have like a tiny little bit more or fold to there, or we cut a little bit like this, it might be a bit off. So what we're going to do is I'm going to place this pocket here, and I'm going to close these flaps and see if it fits. See, it's a little bit bulking up. Just a tiny little bit. I think I glued this flap a tiny bit too high. You won't see that at all, but it's going to affect this pocket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a sliver of this side and a sliver of that side. And these are just the things that you need to take into account and just adapt and move on. If it's not too tight, you don't have to do this. Just going to add a bit more ink. Well, I actually should first check if it fits this time, because otherwise I need to add ink again. Yep, perfect. See, that's it. So take into account that this and the next pocket might need a bit of adjustment. Just cut off a tiny bit and it will be perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this thin tape again on the 3 sides. And this will form a pocket. And now I'm going to position this pocket right here. And I'm going to make sure that these 2 straight parts on top are lined up with the side of the tabs and the side of this, this first panel. And make sure, of course, that it's between the folds of the tabs, of the flaps, I mean, like this. And you will have like an 1/8 of an inch on the other side as well. And it's still closed. It can still close perfectly. Yes. Next step. The next thing to do is to put a panel on top of this pocket. And the panel that we need is panel E. And it's going to come right here. It's not going to cover this because you won't see it. So there's no use in making it that large. There, just going to put glue and just slap it on there. Just glue all over. It's a panel, it's not a pocket. If you ask, well, why didn't you put already this design onto that pocket? Well, if I use layers like we're doing here, it's gonna make the whole project much sturdier than if I would already put all the prints on there. So it really has a purpose. Okay, and the next thing we're going to add is pocket number 2. And it's gonna come here. It's gonna be lined up with the bottom of pocket number 1 beneath. But of course, if pocket 1 didn't fit, pocket 2 is probably not going to fit either. So I know I'm going to need to cut off a tiny little bit on this side and a tiny little bit on the other side, and it's going to fit. I think these are the only ones that you need to do that with. Just these 2. There. Okay, fits perfectly. A bit of ink on the edges there. And again, I'm going to put on the back some tape here, here, here. The thinner the tape you use, the more room there is in the pocket. That's why I use for pockets usually this width of tape. There's smaller tape for sure, but then you have to make sure that it's not going to loosen because it's so small when you're using your project. But you can definitely use bigger tape, wider tape, less wide tape. This is just what I like to use and have in my stash. There. There. And now I'm going to line up the bottom and the sides of this pocket with the pocket underneath. Like this. And now it's time to put the panel on pocket number 2, and that is panel F. Again, glue all over, just stick it on there. Like this, nicely in the center. There, and these 2 pockets are ready. And the next step is to put panels on the outside of these flaps. So for that we need these 2, and this is panel J on the outside 1 and panel J outside 2. There are also 2 panels, J inside 1, J inside 2. That's why. So these come on the outside, like this one, like here. And this is gonna come over here. That's why there's not a lot of design going on here, because when it's closed, you won't see all that. And this one is gonna come right here. And here is gonna come a closure on top. Okay, simply again, put glue on these and just stick them on. Again, this one nicely in the center. And this one right here. There. Now, before I'm going to go further, I'm going to attach ribbons as a closure. Of course, you can add another closure, but this is how I like to close this project. And I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to glue a piece of ribbon here, and I'm going to glue a piece of ribbon here. And then when you, like this, here, like this. Quickly going to measure the center here. Here as well. Like this. These ribbons are 14 inches long. That should be enough. It's quite narrow. This is only like a quarter of an inch. I wish I had a ribbon that fit these designs a bit better. That was wider, but I don't have it. So I'm working with what I have here. I'm going to put a piece of tape here, and I'm going to make sure it stops about 1/8 of an inch from the side, because this is going to be exposed, otherwise it's going to get sticky. Same here, I'm going to stop a bit more than 1/8 of an inch from that side. There. So remove the backing, and then I'm going to put this ribbon on top. Yeah, I like to not attach it right to the edge so that it feels really secure. Like this. And now that our project is laying like this, I'm going to put the panel that goes on top here. And that panel is panel H. Again, just glue and make sure it's in the center. And the next piece I'm going to attach is this one. It's going to be like the front flap. In this kit, it's this one, and it's panel G1. I put some glue on there, and then just like this. There. And now, let's see. It folds like this, like this, like this. And you see now you can close the project like this. Let me open it up again because we're far from ready. There. The next panel I'm going to attach is a panel on the inside of the front flap, and that is panel G2. Like this. Of course, if you're using another type of closure, it might be that you need to wait until that closure is attached to put this one on. That really depends on what your plans are. The next panels I'm going to attach are two small panels. I'm going to put this ribbon aside. It's two small panels, so one small panel here. I'm going to put a cross here, and one on the back here as well. And for those we need panels B. So we have B1 and B2. I'm going to attach B1 here. So at the top, but I'm going to leave 1/8 of an inch 3mm on the top and the sides here, and the same on the back. So B1 here, this. These are small panels because pockets are going to come on top, and it doesn't need more than this. And then the same on the back, right here. This will come here. Like this again, the same amount of space on all three top sides, like this. Since we have a project like this, we can already attach panel I. It's gonna come right here. Like this, again, nicely in the center. Let's move on. I'm gonna turn around again, and now I'm going to tackle the closure for these flaps. And for that, we have these two circles. I cut them out with my 2-inch circle punch. And I'm gonna glue them against each other, but to make this whole thing a bit more sturdy, I'm going to add another layer in between. So with my circle punch, I cut out another 2-inch circle, and that will make the closure a bit more sturdy. I'm going to make this a magnet closure, and for that I'm going to use a very tiny magnet. This one is 3/8 of an inch long. That's about 1 centimeter, and it's about 1 millimeter, 1/16 of an inch wide. And normally in album tutorials, etc., crafters usually use 2 of these magnets. But since this is so incredibly strong, you don't always need to use 2 magnets. I usually use just a washer that is about the same size. It's even thinner, and it's just it catches beautifully. Of course, if you make craft projects with many layers of cardstock in between, you might need 2 magnets, but it's cheaper if it's not necessary to use just a washer instead. So 1 magnet, 1 washer. The washer I'm going to put aside for later. So this magnet is going to be attached to one of these closure circles. Now I don't want this magnet to be put in the center. No, I want this closer to the edge, about 1/4 of an inch. That is about 6 millimeters from the edge, because then it can actually catch. If it's in the center, it cannot catch where I want it. Okay. Now, depending on the design of your closure circle, you need to find out where you want it. Since in this design it's a compass, I'm going to have the south, well, pointing the south. And I'm going to get a little bit of tape here, just something to hold the magnet. And I'm going to see where I want my closure magnet here. Yeah, that's about the back of that south thingy. I'm going to remove the backing, and now I'm going to try. Well, if I keep it up to the light, I can actually see through the design, and that's actually perfect. Like this. Here it is in a perfect place. And then I'm going to put my in-between cardstocky thingy on there. You can definitely put the other design on the back immediately, but I want it a bit more sturdy, that's why. I'm actually going to add a bit of ink to the edges there. And I'm not going to glue this on top with glue stick. I'm going to use actual wet glue to make it a bit more sturdy here, especially around that magnet. I'm using, you can use tacky glue. I'm using, because I just purchased it because everyone was raving about it, I'm using this art glitter glue right now. Let's see how that works. I definitely love how fine this metal tip is. I should put something on top of the magnet as well. Okay. Let's put this on top here. Yeah, it's a bit bulky here because it's still 16, a 1/16 of an inch thick here. So I'm gonna have to hold it for a bit. Yeah, with wet glue you need to hold it for a bit until it catches and it's dry. That's all right. Okay, and now I'm going to glue the other design on the back. I'm just going to line up the souths again. In this case, yeah. I should have waited until I got some glue on there. Nice bead on the edge there. I have to line this up. Yeah, I think that's fairly good. All right. Okay. There, actually, I'm going to use the other side as the top, because it's not as, you don't see the creases from the magnets on the top part as much as you see it on the bottom part. So it's actually better. Yeah. A bit more ink here. So this is going to be my top. There. So how is this going to work? I'm going to attach this here on top with a brad so it can move. And then that magnet is going to catch where this washer is going to be. First, I'm going to add this here with a brad. And for that, since I want it to move really good, I'm not just going to poke a little hole. I'm actually going to make an 1/8 of an inch hole with my crocodile. Of course, you have hole punches that are much less grand and big and heavy like this, but it's what I have here. And I'm going to punch my hole about, I think I'm gonna punch it in the end from north here, about at least 1/4 of an inch from the edge, right here. So, and since this hole is now pretty large, not just a little poked hole, it's going to be able to swivel. Okay, so I think I want my magnet around here. Yeah, I'm gonna make a mark. Yeah, you can put it a bit higher or lower according what you like best. Just make sure that your magnet will be somewhere here on the bottom flap. Okay, I made my mark and I'm now going to punch a hole there as well. I have this little brad right here. Now it's easy through both holes. Gonna make sure my legs split that way there, and make sure that it's easy to move this one. Okay, simple like that. So, and the next part is to see where this washer comes. So I'm going to have to guess. So it's the magnet is here. So going to see, it's about here. So I think it needs to come somewhere around here. Of course, you can always measure. This is about 1 3/4 from the fold. This is 1 3/4 from the fold. Let's see. So it should be around here. There. I'm going to put some tape here. Stick it on and test if that's right. Let's just see. Of course, I have to see that this tape doesn't stick onto these beautiful thingies. So yeah, it's working. I didn't push it down, so I didn't want this to stick to that. So I think it's perfect. Now I can put the inner panels here and here. And these inner panels are J inner 2, J inner 1. So make sure that your design is the right way up, like this. I'm just gonna add glue these on top. Well, actually, I'm going to add a little bit of double-sided tape on top of this washer here, and also a little bit on top of the legs of this brad here, to protect the paper that's gonna come on top of this. Okay, this one goes on the bottom. Again, make sure there's an even space all around. And this one goes on top, and it hides all the fixtures of the closure. Now let's test. Yep. Perfect. Very happy with that. It's just snapsy. I love it. Okay, and this is how you open it. Moving on. And the next thing to attach is the pockets. Now we have a pocket base too, pocket 3 they're called, pocket 3 1, pocket 3 2, and we're also having 2 panels that go on top. And here you choose if you would just like a panel that's full on top, that's page 9 with the full ones, but I'm going to show you how to make the ones with the window. That's just a few extra steps, and one will come here and the other one will come on the back here. I'm just going to show you one, and the other one is just exactly the same. So first I'm going to glue this one on top here completely. If you have the full panel, just indeed do exactly the same. Add glue and glue it on top of the pockets. Sure to add glue to all the edges and glue it in the center. This is not very centered. There you go. And now, of course, I still need to cut out this oval here as well. For that, I like to take a craft knife. You don't have to have a heavy duty one like this one, but this is in my close proximity. Just going to cut out a shape. Could be any shape. Just make sure that you can move in there with your scissors. So yeah. And now I'm going to, if you like that better, you can definitely not cut out a window first from the panel, glue it on top, and then cut both ovals at the same time. I don't like to cut through that thick of a paper, that's why I do it in 2 steps, but it's definitely possible. Plus, if you like to use a craft knife instead of scissors to cut out the oval, it might be the better thing to just first glue the panel on top of the pocket and then only cut out the oval through both layers. But any mistakes I'm going to completely cover up with lovely, lovely ink. There, that's done. Hello, ink. Now for the window, usually I use these pocket insert thingies. You see I already cut in here. But what I also like to use is just this packaging. This is from Something Crafty and it's actually perfect, and it's better to upcycle it in your project than just having to throw it away. So this is really, really clear, beautiful plastic and perfect for these. But you can definitely use these. I have like thousands of these left. I'm not going to throw them away. I'm just going to use them just like these. I'm simply going to cut this out. Yeah. If I cut right next to this sticker, I think I can have one for each window, for each pocket. This. I'm going to refine it later. Okay, now I only have to throw this away and not the whole pocket thingy. What I'm going to do next is add some tape right next to that window. I'm just going to add a square, but I'm going to see that it's quite close to the window on the sides here. Here as well. It's okay if I'm gonna go a bit crooked like this. You won't see it anyway. There. I have my square like this. You can definitely use wet glue for this. It depends on which type of glue. I haven't tried it out. I usually just use my double-sided tape. Okay, now I'm going to attach this here, make sure it's flat there. And I'm also going to make sure that I cut off this excess plastic close to the tape, close-ish. There. Just that the excess doesn't bulk up there. This. And now, to prevent something from sticking here when you put something in the pocket, I'm going to add a bit of just regular tape on top. Just like this. It's like just not too white. Here. This. I'm also going to put a little bit of tape on top here because here I have a sticky part here that I didn't cover. And otherwise it's going to stick too much. So make sure when you cover your tape here that it's completely covered. Okay, now we have a lovely window here. And now it's time to put this right in here. And for that I'm just going to put my double-sided tape again around the edges. Oh, I'm gonna use my narrow tape right here. So put your tape right along the edge again. Yeah, it's best to have some bare paper on the edges so it sticks really well. That's why I like to use the narrow tape. So don't cover the whole thing with plastic. That's what I mean. There, and now this pocket comes right in between the folds. Right here. Yeah. Normally the size is great, but it's best to check again first that it really can close, that it's not too wide. Otherwise, again, like with these pockets, cut off the sides a tiny little bit. There. And I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side with the other pocket here. There, I have my pocket on this side as well. And now there are tags that can be put in those pockets. And I have two tag bases here, 1 and 2. And there are two panels, K1 and K2, and they just need to be glued on there. There. You can add a little piece of ribbon in between the panel and the base for sure, that you can pull the tag out. I'm just going to add eyelets and a little ribbon on there. But there are a lot of ways that you can use these tags. You can also just leave them as they are right now. Just going to find the center here. See how far they come out of the pocket. Yeah, the picture on there should really be seen nicely through the window. Yeah, that's actually okay. That's about 1/2 inch from the top. Yeah, of course you can just choose this yourself. It's a bit more than 1/2 inch actually. It's like here. And where is the center? Here. Okay, so I'm just going to use my crocodile. You can use another eyelet tool eyelet setting tool. There. I have these tiny 8-inch eyelets that I'm going to use. And since this is quite a natural kit, I'm going to use, instead of ribbons, this this natural type cord thingy. I'm not sure what it is. But again, ribbons, thread, leather, faux leather, pieces, all possible. There you go. Let's put this in here. Of course, don't use something that's too thick because it's already going to be quite a bulky project. Oh, look how beautiful this is. Very happy. Okay, awesome. Next. What we already could have done, but I just didn't do them yet, is the panels on these little pockets here. And these are panels L1 and L2. This one goes here and the other one will go right here. Again, glue and just stick them on. There. Okay, you're almost ready. We just have a very blank piece right here. And we're gonna put an envelope there. We have one big base piece left, and that's from the envelope. And first I'm going to score this line and that line. I'm gonna fold these like this. It folds like an envelope. Again, we're gonna put a panel here, we're gonna put a panel here. The only thing you're gonna see is like these edges between and next to the panels. So if you think that's too much ink wasted for you, I totally understand. Just add some ink color before adding the panels on top. I'm gonna open it like this, and the first thing I'm going to add is a panel right here. And that is panel M. It's going to be put right here. Again, I'm going to ink the folds here so you can definitely see what I'm doing. And actually it's defining the design a bit better. So maybe that's not a bad idea after all for you to do as well. So I'm going to put this piece right here. Again, nothing here because you're not going to see it anyway. And make sure that there is equal amount of space on these three sides. Right here. And to close the envelope, I'm going to put some tape here on this edge and here on this edge. And then just like this. Now to close this envelope, I'm again going to use one washer and one neodymium magnet. You can definitely use just Velcro or another piece of closure, or even a rope closure like this if you add some extra pieces. But I'm just going to use the magnet again. I'm going to find the center. Here. Yeah, it's around here. Make sure there's enough room. So I'm gonna put it around, how far does it close? Yeah, I'm gonna keep again like an 1/8 of an inch, a 1/4 of an inch, 6 millimeters from the top here. So I'm just going to stick it down with a piece of double-sided tape here again. Remove the backing, stick my magnet on top right there. There you go. And now, because I want my washer right here, I'm actually going to do something much simpler than I did earlier. I'm gonna add some quite liquidy pen thingy. I'm just going to stamp where it needs to come. There you go. Now I can just put some tape here and I know exactly where my washer is going to come right here. So, and now I can just add my panels on top. This one will become here, and that's panel N. Well, maybe it's better to use some liquid glue here with the washer, but well, I think it's so thin, that washer, that I think it's gonna be perfectly all right. However, this one is a bit thicker, so I'm going to resort to my art glitter glue again here. And for that one, on the inside we need panel 02, and for the outside later we have 01. So 02 will be added right here. I'm gonna add a little bit extra tape on top so that part will stick really well. There. Gonna push this tape around the magnet here. I'm also going to add a bit of glue around like this, and also a bit of glue here. Oh, what am I doing? What am I doing? Don't do what I'm doing. Okay, I don't think it's gonna be a problem, but what am I doing? The glue should be on the panel, not on there. It's okay. There's only, yeah, that's gonna dry clear. I'm gonna leave it like this. I'm going to add the glue. Well, you know what? I can add just a little bit of glue around this magnet. I'm going to use regular what am I saying? Glue stick for the rest. That's better. Yeah, always put your glue on the panel, not on the base. Okay. Right here, and now I'm gonna be very careful and wrap my fingers around that magnet and hold it for a while so that it will seal in. Yeah, make sure, because it's like really tight here, make sure that you put your magnet far enough away from the edge of the panel for sure. I think I put it a bit too much to the edge, but it's like barely, it's okay. It's gonna work. Okay, when you're sure it's down, this will snap perfectly. Okay, let it dry first because it's actually not really dry yet. What I need to do now is glue the front flap panel in place as well. This. There you go. Very pretty. If you want to use this envelope separately, just glue another panel from another paper. Of course, it's not included here on the back, and you can use it separately later for some other project. But I'm going to glue this in right here, and for that I'm going to put some tape on the edges and glue in the center. A bit far from the edge here, just saying. This is better, you see. But again, you can just use glue. If you're using only glue, I think I would resort to quite a strong glue, like a lean stacky glue or the art glitter glue. Or of course Fabri-Tac, of course. Some extra glue in the center. And now I just have to see that I have an equal amount of space all around. There, that's it. So, and now it closes like this, and then like this, and then you can tie this project and close it. There. And you can put the extra embellishments from this kit in here as well, in these pockets. But I'm going to show you how to make these mini booklets with the mini journal pages, and these can be put inside these side pockets. So let me show you quickly how to make these beautiful booklets. As I have told you before, I printed these on 80 grams paper, so they are thinner and they actually fit in this booklet. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a bit too bulky. And I printed one side 1% bigger than the other side. And then now I don't have any white edges when I cut them out. Of course, you can play with these sheets, use only the ones that you like, etc. I have 2 piles of 4 sheets on top of each other. There, you can completely choose order yourself, and then I'm going to fold them in half, the stacks. There. And now I'm going to bind these with a staple. Like this. And of course, I don't have a stapler that reaches that far, but that's really not necessary. Now, to bind it, I'm going to use my staple as a template here. Gonna search for the middle, and then I'm going to make little holes for the legs right on that fold. Now, before I'm going to put the staple actually in and bind it, I'm going to take a little piece of ribbon and lay that on top there between the holes with the ugly side up. If your ribbon has an ugly side. I'm gonna put the staple in there, and then I'm going to close these legs with something metal like a ruler or something. This. And now I'm going to close this ribbon with some glue. I tried art glitter glue, but that's just not holding a ribbon at all. What does work, and what I usually use, is just Alene Stacky Glue. You can use Fabri-Tac for this as well. You can also use this type of twine, of course. There, a little bit of glue on there. There. Hold it for a little bit. Yeah, the glue is going to leak through a little bit, but that's okay. Okay, it's still drying, but I want to show you. Now you have a little pulley to pull your journal out of here. Here as well. Like this. And now you have 2 little tiny beautiful journals inside your folio. These actually also fit right in here perfectly. So that's a really good place to put them too. You can also put your embellishments in here, whatever you like, you know. But I'm just going to put these in here. And put these beautiful little embellishments in here. You have enough to play with. You can also put them here in this beautiful little pocket. Maybe the tags are better suited for that. Yeah, just So, and now it's filled and our beautiful little project is completely ready. There, satisfying snap of the envelope here. It just accordion-wise closes like this. You can also open it like this. You don't have to turn around the whole project here. This also has a satisfying snap, and now you can close it completely. And this is how you make this beautiful little project. You can trim the ends of this ribbon if you like, of course, as well. But this is such a beautiful project to make. I hope you really loved these instructions. I hope they were clear for you. And I hope you will have a ton of fun making these. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.